Hello, welcome to vlogging with migraine, or vlogging about life with migraines. This is a newer idea for me of vlogging about or during migraines. Thankfully I do not have a migraine right now. I just have a lot of head pain per usual, but that's actually what I want to talk about in this video. If you're new here, hello, welcome. My name is Hannah. I am a lifelong migraine sufferer, and this channel is my way of putting information out there of life with migraines, but more importantly, my quest to get well, hence my channel name. It's been helpful to me that people put their information out there of different treatments they've tried, and that's actually what most of the videos on my channel are so far. Is I'm gonna get my water. Most of the videos on my channel are treatments I've tried, but recently I got this idea of vlogging during a migraine or vlogging about migraine. I'm still figuring that out. So that's what I'm trying. So yeah. So what I want to talk about is there's so many byproducts that we have to deal with of living with migraines. Like, living with migraines is more than living with the attacks themselves, which are horrible and debilitating. But there's so much more that goes into it, and I'm just going to cover a little bit of some of that. And I will say migraines are different for everybody. It's different on how they affect everybody, how they disrupt people's lives is going to be different, how often they hit and how they feel when they hit and how they affect you when they hit. It is different from person to person. For me, my migraines hit on average 1 to 3 times a week. Sometimes, like in this week's case, 5 times a week. And they last on average for 12 to 16 hours. Sometimes less, sometimes more. They can go up to 2 days for me. I started documenting my migraines about 4 years ago, like in depth, like daily documenting my head pain and other things, including my fatigue and a lot of other things that I'm affected by, that I believe are byproducts of life with migraines. The migraine attack's brutal, so it's like, imagine getting a hit in the head with a baseball bat. And when you get that a couple times a week, week after week, for years, fortunately, when I was younger, they didn't hit as often, so I was able to have a normal life, basically. Like, I could work, I was able to go to school full-time, and migraines, you know, they did make it challenging, but I was able to like make plans, which I no longer can without. There's a lot that goes into anytime I do make plans, and I've learned to not make plans as often any more than I have to. Because one of the things that's important with living with migraines is eliminating as much stress as possible. And what I didn't used to realize was making plans added a lot of stress, because there's a lot of stress you wouldn't have to deal with if you don't have migraines. Like, because one of the many byproducts of living with migraines is you never know when they're gonna hit. So that's an automatic stressor that you carry with you at all times. Like, and it's not even that you're thinking about it. It's not like you're, you know, because one of the ways that anxiety works is if you dwell on something, it builds, right? And so, but that's not what this is. Like, it can be that way, but like, it's just a stress that you live with, no matter how positive you are, no matter how much you choose not to focus on it, it is there, and it's a very stressful thing. And actually, one of the things that has eliminated stress for me as well is actually planning for if a migraine hits. I didn't used to do that. For most of my life, I didn't do that. And I would make plans the same way that I always had make plans, the way that most people make plans is make plans and just plan to do it. And through years, it's taken me most of my life to learn what I'm sharing with you. I didn't want to think about migraines. I didn't want it to be a thing in my life, and it was, but I didn't want to think about it. And so to me, that was being positive. But one of the many things I've learned is that actually causes so much more stress for me, because then if a migraine hits, and it very well could, and very well has. I've missed weddings. I've missed so many things in my life. Migraines have brought me up so much in my life. It's so much more stressful not having a backup plan and not being prepared. So it has helped me phenomenally to live as though migraine is a giant presence in my life, because it is. So when I make plans, I don't make plans often. I have to say no to a lot of things. And I no longer really have a social life anymore. Unfortunately, migraines kind of, through years, I got tired of having to explain to people why I can't make plans. And just coming off as flaky, when in reality I was just in pain a lot. But yeah, I've actually lost friendships and stuff over it. Anyway, so yeah, I don't make plans a lot, but it helped me to not make plans often. And when I do, I only make plans with people who understand my situation, so they can understand if I don't make it, that it is because of my disease. Which, that's another thing. I never saw migraines as a disease most of my life. It has helped me so much learning that they are a disease. That is why I have the struggles that I have, a lot of the struggles I have. Obviously, they're not every struggle in my life, but it is a huge part of my life. It is a huge part of why I'm struggling in life, is because of living with this disease. Anyway, when I make plans now, it's with someone who understands it, and it's with a backup plan. It's with, okay, if I get hit, this is what I'm going to do, and that eliminates so much stress, because now if a migraine hits, I don't have to try to think what should I do, because one of the things when a migraine hits, it's hard to think. It's hard, you're in pain, it's debilitating. So having a backup plan has helped me so much of like, yeah. So, okay. What's funny is all that, that wasn't even my original, when I was planning to make this video, that was like, maybe I'll get to it, maybe I won't. The main thing that made me think of making this video was the head pain I deal with on a daily basis. That's one of the byproducts of life with migraines for me. Again, like I said, it's different for everybody. And even on their non-migraine days, it's gonna look different for everybody. For me, non-migraine days are still a struggle. Every single day is a struggle. In fact, like today when I woke up, my head hurt really bad. I rate my pain on, before migraine, I just rate my pain on a scale of 1 to 10, just how my head is feeling. And then once it gets to a 10, that is a level 1 migraine. So a level 1 migraine is a level 10 headache, is how I rate it. And then from there, my migraines have a scale of 1 to 10. So today I would say I woke up and my pain was about a 7 or 8. Not migraine, just the head pain. And that means, you know, that's close to a migraine. And so, you know, I did what I do most mornings, which was I take it easy. I just try not to think about that my head hurts. I just slowly eat my breakfast. And what are we doing? Oh, I've got the little art on my TV, so I guess it's changing. So that's what I did today. And it hurt enough that, you know, I even went and came in here, I have the camera on my bed actually. I laid down for a little bit, just hoping that the pain would die down. And thankfully it did. I would say now it's about a 5 or 6. But that's what I was thinking about, this new idea I'm doing of vlogging with migraines. And it gave me the idea of making this video of, I don't have a migraine right now, thankfully. But I am dealing with head pain and like, so I thought I'd make a video just talking about a lot of those byproducts that you, or at least that I have, and I know many others have, of living with migraines, how much they affect our non-migraine days. Once I started seeing this neurologist that I'm currently seeing, I've been seeing them for about 4 years, They would give me a questionnaire every time I go in the office every like 3 months. They would give me a questionnaire that would be like, unless you document daily, you're not going to know the answers, because it would be things like, in the last 3 months, how many days were you unable to do things like household work due to head pain? And it's like, I don't know. I would put like, I don't know, maybe more than half. I don't know. And it would even be more detailed, like in the last 3 months, how many days was your productivity and things like household work decreased by half or more due to head pain? It's like, unless you're taking detailed notes every single day on how your head affected you that day, no one's gonna remember that. So because of that, I learned how to document better and better my head pain. And that's why now I have a good 4 years of data. So that's why I can tell you how often I get hit. And because before then I didn't know how to document. Like, I was documenting like how often I took medication, which I still do that. I have a thing that I document every time I take any kind of medication. I write it in my little calendar book. Even Advil, which I don't take Advil anymore. Advil's, it's like giving me a Smarties. It doesn't do anything, but what am I saying? I don't remember what I was saying. Let's find a different one. That's too bright. That's kind of pretty. Let's do that one.
Yeah, so,
yeah, the main thing, I'm trying to stay on point with this video, the theme of what this video is. I want to talk about just things that, all the byproducts we live with when living with migraine. It's so much more than the attack themselves. Another thing, for me, it's different for everybody, but for me, because my migraines hit so often now, and there's a thing called Prodrome, and oh my gosh, I actually forget. Before a migraine hits, you can feel off, which I often do. Some people have what's called aura, which I actually still get confused what aura is, but I think aura is like, it can be visual things, which thankfully I don't deal with visual things, I don't think. But like, I know a lot of times, I usually have at least a couple hours notice before a migraine hits. Like, I start to feel off and I start to have anxiety. And it's not my anxiety, it's just that my body is preparing for a migraine. This is a lot of stuff that it's helpful to me to know that now, because for years, you know, I didn't know how migraines really worked, and I didn't understand, because as a person, like, I'm a laid back person, and I, like, growing up, I never, and I would say well into my 20s, I'm now in my late 30s, anxiety wasn't an issue for me, like not past like normal anxiety. Like anxiety is part of life, we all deal with anxiety, but like I didn't have unhealthy anxiety at all. Like I could deal with things well. I worked in a restaurant and I handled, it was very, very stressful, and I always kept a calm attitude. But living with migraines for so long, and not understanding what's going on, it's added to my anxiety a lot, because like for one, like I said, before a migraine hits, I'll start to feel anxiety, and now I know that, oh, okay, a migraine's probably hitting, which is still very stressful, and still it makes anxiety that I can't go away be there, but at least I know what's happening, which helps, and helps me work with my anxiety. Yeah, so understanding that has helped a lot, but that's been a big thing. One of many, many big things of living with migraines is just the anxiety that comes with, and then the anxiety during an attack is horrible, because you're in so much pain and it's scary, and it goes on, for me, it goes on for hours and hours, sometimes days, and dealing with that amount of anxiety on a weekly basis, that does a lot to your body and to your mental health. Yeah, so that's another reason that I wanted to start making these videos, is just putting what little information I can out there to raise more awareness about life with migraines, but also to help anyone that's looking for answers. I assume if you're watching this, you have migraines, or you know someone that has migraines, and yeah, like I said in the beginning, it's been helpful to me that people put information out there, and yeah, like even all this stuff I've just shared, that has been such a huge help to me, learning these things, and things I wish I had known 20 years ago. I do think my anxiety wouldn't be as bad as it is now if I had understood the things I'm telling you now. If I'd understood it 20 years ago, or I mean my whole life, because I've had migraines since I was a kid, but we didn't know that they were really a presence in my life, just because from the time I was a kid to a teenager, they didn't hit very often. So when they hit, they were really bad, but they didn't hit really often. And I don't remember how long they lasted, but I don't think they lasted anywhere near as long as they last now. Yeah, so there's just, things you just don't know until things happen, and that's what migraine was like for me. I definitely didn't know it was a disease. I didn't know that until in the last recent years. Yeah, let's see. Oh, another thing I want to talk about, that migraines, byproduct of migraines, for me, again, it's different for everybody, but one of the things that's been for me is I cannot control my sleep schedule. I have tried, and getting hit with migraines so often, because a lot of times when a migraine hits, I have to go to bed and just wait for the pain to die for another, oh, that's a pretty background, wait for the pain to die down for, 14 hours, whatever it is. So doing that a couple times a week, it's a lot of times, let's just say I wake up at 9 a.m., let's just say. And then at 3 p.m., I get hit with a 16-hour migraine. So now from 3 p.m. to whatever 16 hours from then, 3, 4, 5, 6, let's say my migraine lets up at 2 a.m. So now 2 a.m., I have been in bed for the last 15 or 16 hours. And maybe dozed off and on, and now my migraines let up. I am not tired at all. My body's fatigued, my body's exhausted, but I'm not sleepy. So now that's my morning. So now 2 or 3 a.m. when my migraine finally died, I don't want to be in bed. My body doesn't want to be in bed. It might, because I don't feel good, but as far as bedtime, it's not ready for bed. So the way that I have adapted to that is, and it's been a learning process, but what I have done is I work with my body instead of trying to make my body work on the schedule I want, which is what I've done most of my life, because most of my life I've worked. Right now I'm not working. My migraines have gotten so bad that and even my non-migraine days are such a challenge. And even what I'm sharing with you now, I can't control my sleep schedule. I have tried and I cannot control it. It makes it worse when I try to control it. I can't figure out how to hold down a job. So I am currently trying to file for disability. That's a whole other story, and that's very stressful. I've never done that before, and that's never been something I've wanted to do, because I'm a hard worker, but like with this disease, oh God, and like when I was working, it was destroying my body, and it was, and I'm surprised I've ever held down a job with how many times I've had to call off. Anyways, maybe I'll make another video on that, but yeah, back to sleep schedule. So the way that I have adapted to things, and I feel like this is the kindest I've ever been to my body in my adult life of working with my body instead of trying to force it on a schedule. So what I'll do is I figure an average day should be about 14-15 hours, and around that time is when you should then be getting ready for bed. So what I do is I document my sleep to the best of my ability, and maybe I'll make a video on that, but I document, because I wake up a lot throughout the night. Like, I do have insomnia thanks to migraines, that it's hard to get sleep. I usually have to be in bed for like 10 to 12 hours just to get 5 or 6 hours of sleep. That's another way that my sleep schedule is just uncontrollable. So anyways, what am I saying? My head does still hurt, so it's like, it is a little hard to think, but thankfully it's, I'd say, yeah, 5 or 6. I'd say it's closer to a 5, so thankfully it's not too bad. But anyways, the sleep schedule, what am I saying? Okay, yeah, how I've adapted is, and it's taken me so long to learn this, and it's also, okay, so I'm gonna say it. Whenever I go to bed, I'll keep track of how much I slept, because I'll wake up off and on throughout the night. And then when I feel I've slept enough, which is usually about 10 or 12 hours to try to get enough sleep in, then that becomes my morning. And then I'll try to treat that like a day, whatever time that is, because that changes every freaking day. So like I said in a previous video, my schedule flip-flops more than a flippity fish toy.
It flips, it flops.
So whatever time I get up, I then treat that, okay, that's my morning. So if I wake up at 1 p.m., that is now my morning, and I will treat that till, so then 1 p.m. to 1 a.m., and then it'd be like, well, 2, 3. So around 4 a.m. is when I should be getting ready for bed. So that is how I then treat my schedule. And then when a migraine hits, because a migraine hits a couple times a week and changes that, I will do the same thing of when I'm ready to get up, okay, now that's my morning. And then I will treat the rest of the day as that. So that has been the best thing for my body. It's definitely made it challenging as far as like, you know, trying to, for one, that's one of the many things that's made it hard with trying to find work. Migraines are the number one though, but I'm not dependable. I cannot, because of migraines and my wacky sleep schedule, I cannot say I'll be there Tuesday, or even working remotely, I can't say I'll do something Tuesday at 6 or whatever. So yeah, it's one of my many big challenges. My biggest challenge now, because like I said, I've eliminated stress as much as possible, so that's why I don't make plans very often. And when I do, it's with the very, very few people in my life that understand my situation. So that way I have peace about making plans with them that, you know, if I can't make it, they will be understanding. I was getting to my point, and I'm about to wrap this up because this video is too long. What was my point? I had a point. The biggest stress I now deal with is like doctor's appointments. It is so stressful because I never know what my sleep schedule is going to be that day, whatever the day of the appointment. Like, even if I make an appointment for next week, there is no, even if I make it for tomorrow, there's no telling what my tomorrow is going to be like, what my sleep schedule will have been, what my migraine and head pain will be like. So it's appointments are very stressful. I'm always so grateful when doctors' offices are understanding, but some aren't. And some, you know, they have their protocol that they have to follow, but that's what makes it so stressful. So I do my best to, and I try to do remote if at all possible. Like with my neurologist's office, I'm very grateful they offer telehealth, which is, it's like FaceTiming. So that way I know even if I have a migraine, I'm not gonna miss it. I can make myself crawl to my desk to take a phone call. I can manage to do that and then crawl back in bed. But even that is stressful because like maybe I will have just gone to bed at like 2 hours ago and now I have to be up for my appointment. That's gonna upset my head. So that adds stress. So there's so much that comes, okay, I'm wrapping this video up. There is so much extra that comes of life with migraine than the actual attacks. There is so much byproducts that you have to deal with when living with migraine that go far beyond the attack themselves. And the attacks are arguably the worst part, but all these other things make it so hard. And stigma, like that maybe I'll make a video on stigma. There's so much with stigma that adds stress in our lives, that we're dealing with all this, and yet we have to try to convince people that it's real because we look and sound fine. Yeah, so there's so much. But yeah, here it is. I think it's like 4, I don't know what time it is. I think it's like 4 in the morning. This is probably, I don't know, I'm gonna guess this is like my noon. This is about my 12 or 1 p.m. for my day today. And yeah, that's why when I was on my bed laying down because of my head pain, and you know, just thinking how much I hate that this is my life right now, like, and this has been my life for years, that I can't live the way I want to live. You know, I can't, even right now, I can't go for a walk to try to get some exercise because it's the middle of the night, and I wouldn't want to walk in the middle of the night. It just doesn't feel safe. But that's not my point. My point is I can't live the way I want to live. I am, and I'm very proud of myself, I am making the most that I know how to of my situation, which is important. And no matter what your life is, that's an important key, I believe, in anything. And I think that's one of the silver linings of my situation, is it does help me grasp a lot of these concepts of like how to make the most out of your life and how to live with life when hardships come that you really don't want in your life. How to find the silver lining. Living with migraines has really helped me grasp these concepts, so I am grateful for that, and it has helped me see there's silver lining in everything. Sometimes it's hard to find, but it's there. Still doesn't mean that things are how you want them to be. That's definitely true in my life, but finding the silver lining is definitely important. So, okay, I'm gonna end this video. So if you have any questions or anything, just let me know in the comments. Yeah. I hope you're having a good day. I hope you're having a migraine-free day. I hope whatever you're going through that you're able to find the silver lining, because it is there. It might be really hard to find, but it's there. I will hopefully see you in my next video.